Oh,
I mean, does this have to happen to me all the time?
he played at the BET Awards with his new
Oh,
song, Sky. They both came out. Everybody in the club getting tipsy, and then they played his song, and they came together. Great show. Everybody in the bar is getting tipsy.
I mean, I'm not like I'm not like the classic country music kind of guy. I don't know if anybody has noticed that.
Oh yeah,
I'm just not the classic, but you know, I
I
like
think
lots
you
of
look.
different music, and I picked a song from the 2020s at least. What was it? When was that out? Last year? 24?
Yes,
Was that
I'm proud
last
of
year?
you. Like 2 years ago, but I
Oh
like.
gosh, 2 years
I
ago.
mean, if you, I don't know if anybody watches AGT. I might be the only one in the world. It seems like it's still very popular.
It does seem like it is, and I have watched it.
Have you seen? There's the I think it's the Bodkins, the Voidkins, some kins.
Oh no, what
Anyway,
is?
it's another women from Georgia, and they're singing country, but it's not traditional country. It's like you feel soul with country, like these 3 or 4 black sisters. They're so good, the Boydkins, but it's like not like
They're on the current season. Is
they're
that
on
what
the
it is?
current season,
Okay.
and I think they got the golden ticket. I cry every time they get the golden ticket.
You and I have to say, in that way, we are. This is why we
I
get
mean, it's
along
so good we're not in the same
because
city because we'd be
Kathy is
falling.
like my executive producer is always like, you don't know these people. What are you? What are you? I'm like, yeah, but they work so hard, and
And she's like, you don't even know if they worked
you
hard.
don't know that at all. I'm like, this is just a dream for somebody. It's a
But
dream come
yeah,
true.
I mean, it's like
Yes,
it really comes
I
true.
know. I'm the worst with that kind of stuff. I'm so just in the feels with those kinds of things. I mean, it was the same way for me, like, um, American Idol.
Yeah.
When they do the backstory, it's eyes filled right up right away. I'm like, put this person through. Come on. I don't care if they can't sing. Oh my gosh.
I know,
Like,
but you
I,
do care. You care.
I do care a little bit. At least after the auditions. When they get to Hollywood Week, you better sing. Don't give me this. Oh, I miss my kids. You left your kids to make this happen. Get to it.
That oh my gosh, yes, I missed the reset room yesterday. So let me tell you what my life
How
is
did
like
you miss your
lately.
own show? What
So
happened there?
so let me tell you, I missed a lot yesterday, and I was like, "What?" So part of it was because
Were you tipsy?
no, no, I was
See
editing,
what I
and
did?
I'm doing this video series, and I'm not an editor. I don't know why I think I can do it, but I was like deep off editing, and the next thing I know, it was like 4:30. I was
And
just
you forgot? You
like,
forgot?
cat. I totally forgot. I forgot.
That is a bad sign.
I forgot, and I was gonna meet my friend. Like I went to go see my friends. I haven't seen them in forever, and I forgot. And I was late, 15 minutes.
Oh my gosh. First of all, what friends are you talking about? You didn't come see me yesterday. You got the glitchies today in Waco, everybody. We know
I'm
that
glitchy.
you animate and then freeze and then come
Oh,
back to life and then freeze and then come back to life and get freeze. The audio is fine. It's just the video for some reason. I
well,
don't
let
know.
me try something.
Close all the other apps. How many times we have to have this intervention? What are you doing about your show responsibility? Now you're gone completely. Look at what you did. Look at what you did. She's gone. She's gone, everyone. But you still get me. Good morning. Welcome. Please check in the chat. If you are here, let us know that you're here. If you come through as LinkedIn user, we will absolutely let you know if that is the case. Here she comes. Girl,
You're gonna kill me. First of all,
Is that why you made your camera free so you could eat that chocolate covered pretzel? You got problems.
Listen, I am so close to the edge. Be gentle.
Why am I going to kill you? What did you do?
You're going to kill me because I was like, I did close all the apps. I did close all the apps, and I had 2 Sora apps remaking like bulldogs with AI.
I ran her. Look at. Good morning, everybody. Sean said I ran her off with bandwidth shaming. That's what.
Yes.
Good morning. Oh my goodness. West Coast LinkedIn user. Whoop whoop. Welcome.
Oh, love that.
I was saying today is about corporate social responsibility, which is a very fascinating topic. I don't know if you've seen a couple of key organizations that have, well, I shouldn't say key. I'm going to say at least a couple of tech-based organizations that are trying to be at the forefront of AI and some other stuff, saying, well, we still talk about DEI. We are not backing off. It's part of our social responsibility. This is what we're about.
You can't. The thing is that they also try. You cannot have ESG. Some people call it ESG, environmental social responsibility. If you use AI at your company, I am sorry.
Say more.
But you cannot have it both ways.
Yeah. Right. Why?
I mean, like, and did you see what?
What? What did I miss?
Listen, there was a post on Facebook by your president saying hottest country.
For who's president? What you talking about?
Your president of these United States posted, "Congratulations, America, hottest country."
I mean, we do have a lot of hot people. Look at you today.
I mean,
come on. See,
I called her. Wait till I
those of you who are of a certain age, I called her Yvonne Goolagong today because
I'm going to the club after. I'm going to the club. I'm going to put all the peppermints in my purse.
Yvonne Goolagong used to wear culottes, and she had her own line at Sears. I'm pretty sure it was Sears or Penny's, but I think it was Sears.
I think it was Sears. I think it was.
So I know somebody watching had an outfit of Yvonne Goolagong wear. Let us know what store it was at.
Yeah, I want to look. I'm like.
You can't. You're going to mess your band with. Oh my gosh, look at your title. Look at your title for your name.
I know. Kink. I have a friend, one of the people that was on The Amazing Race, and Joe, I won't kill you.
We will never kill Joe.
It's like not athletic at all. He's a dancer, but he's a model. And so it's so funny because we were going through all of these pictures and it was him. I was like, you obviously have never swung a tennis racket. It's like, you say, I mean, it's like, come on. Like you haven't even watched tennis?
Oh my goodness, those old Montgomery Ward, Jefferson Ward, whatever catalogs, like the sale papers, and the 2 guys are throwing a football at each other and they're like right next to each other, and he's like pulling his arm all the way back for a long pass. I'm like, dude, his leg is on top of your leg. What are you
right. What are you doing? And if any of my girlfriends are on, like, we will drop Country Club in a second, walk it in. People are always like, ooh, what is happening when we walk in the room? And we went to Top Golf yesterday, which is funny because we don't ever play golf, but we always go to Top Golf.
I know, but Top Golf is fun.
Yeah.
I like the videos of people falling off the 3rd story when they're trying to swing and fall all the way down to the bottom.
Talk about corporate responsibility.
Funny.
I think funny. Not having drinks is a corporate responsibility at these events.
But. That's why I play tipsy. I mean, well, I think the hard thing about this corporate social responsibility that I've seen through the years is who gets to define what counts as social responsibility, right? Like they'll bring up a topic or a nonprofit to be supportive of, or a community activation that's going on, something, and someone's like, this is what we can do for our corporate social responsibility, and I'm not saying that it's wrong. My point is just like, who gets to decide that that's what we do, right, for our responsibility? I don't know what process happens in in companies across the country, but I would think at some point somebody is like winning because they say
Well,
this is the one we're going to,
no,
you know?
no. The reason is
No?
because this is my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. This whole show is our opinion.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Wait, no. There's some facts riddled in there. There's a couple. So, um, some of you know I used to live in Lake Oswego, Oregon, and Hillsboro, Oregon is the headquarters of Nike.
Yes.
And the Nike headquarters was close to like MLK, and there were a lot of like the corporate store was close to MLK.
Mm.
And during COVID, like houseless people took over the world. Like people didn't know that these people had taken over. When we came back, there
Mm.
were all of these houseless people that were hanging around the Nike store. And then the Nike store closed down. It's their first store. It was the first corporate executive store, all of those things. And it's like before you send a check to the United Way, see if you can help the people in this community. Same with Seattle and Nordstrom's. They just closed their first Nordstrom's. Didn't you used to work at Nordstrom's?
No,
I
no.
don't I forgot who
Lawn
you worked at
makers. Yeah,
Nordstrom.
yeah, yeah.
And again, like, and then it's interesting in how people come back and say, oh, the community's so bad, we have to do something about it. Well, you were the first business here.
Yes.
Like, how about that? Like go outside. You don't have to look up a charity to support. You probably have to go 10 feet. It's the same. I haven't seen it much different in any major city. Seattle, San Francisco, New York is always New York. Philly, I have not seen yet a city where this has not been the case, where you were seeing a majority of houseless people in the center of the city.
Oh, it is. I don't know I don't have an answer for that problem, to be honest
Yes,
with you,
you
because
now
right now
fix it.
the there's so many nuances to it. First of all, we as a country, and I'm talking only the U.S., we as a country, the amount of as it's categorized in this sort of nonprofit annals, the amount of homeless nonprofit organizations that are out there that are doing work both from food supply, from a home supply, house supply, shelter supply, other kinds of resources, because it's not uncommon for those that find themselves in that circumstance perhaps to have addiction issues, those kinds of things, right? All of that. Our country, it is like if you go and just search it for under nonprofit, the amount of organizations in the country that support those kind. Holy cow, the list goes on forever. Part of it is how are they impacting the communities, to exactly your point, that they're trying to serve?
That they're
How are they?
actually in.
Yeah.
And again, there's bigger problems. Like this is a bigger problem. Not in other countries, you don't have nonprofits that have to subsidize the government like but that's a different ballgame. But the challenge is we should think about the actual impact when we're doing corporate social responsibility. So much of
Yes.
this is performative. Like my favorite is when you're like, we're going to offset your carbons for coming to the conference. Okay.
Oh,
I mean, we assume
I'm
that they
sorry.
are.
I'm making this face, and I know somebody's going to at me, but my issue with that is it's so nebulous.
Right.
It's so nebulous. How do you know? There's
Thoughts
no
and prayers. That's what it
right.
feels like, right?
That is what it feels like. Like I'm like, how do we really know that that's really being offset? And I don't necessarily mean that because I think somebody's lying. I just mean there's no transparency into that.
It doesn't feel like the way I think it should. I think it's helpful to have things you can touch and see and be a part of, because I think that's a challenge. And maybe I shouldn't have brought up the example of houseless people, but it made me think about that. Nike in
Why?
particular, all of these stores, because that's a different problem. I do believe like what's challenging is that some of those things that we have to help don't address what got people there in the first place.
Yes,
And
yes,
so one
yes.
of
That
the
is true
things,
for some. Absolutely.
there's a game called SimSock. I don't know if anybody's been a part of like it's simulated society.
Oh no, I've never heard of it.
It it should be a haunted house. It's a 8-hour game, sometimes a 10-hour game. But in the game, you're in various sections. And I was in the section that had no money or assets. We had one cushion. We had nothing in our room. And the thing that was so funny is that the rules of the game are different which section you're in. And in our section, we weren't allowed to go anywhere because we didn't have any money. And it was like, if you don't eat food today, you'll die tomorrow. Like it was like we had to get food, right? So
Yeah.
the second day, we were like, oh, well, then we need a job. And then people gave us food. And then it was saying, you'll get food in this amount of money, but this is how much it costs to get across town. And we're like, okay, can you give me money to go across town? I'm like, no, you're giving me food. And we're like, why won't somebody give me a job? And why won't somebody give me education? And it made me think of what is the corporate responsibility? What's the
Yeah.
goal that we're
Yeah.
trying to achieve?
Yes. And it has to be proactive. In other words, I think for some of these, and again, I'm not knocking anybody's support of these things. I mean, we've got lots of comments happening and I appreciate it. Like Joe bringing up the fact that obviously from a federal government standpoint, there's been cutbacks on things. There's this, deficit perspective, this budget perspective, this political perspective. There's all these things happening, right? That's influencing some of that funding. But the majority percentage of nonprofits in the United States, the majority percentage are not federally funded.
That's right.
The majority percentage. I'm not saying it's not affecting any. Please know, I do know that.
It does everywhere. It all shit rolls downhill for sure.
Right. So there's states that are supporting some state-related nonprofits, but
Right.
some cities that are doing it, and a lot of private donation goes into a lot of this. And so when you're in corporate, sometimes that's what we just sort of settle for is we write a check every year for
Yes.
the United Way or whatever you mentioned, right? Whatever it is that is right, whatever programs. And we're so disassociated from it. And I'm not saying one type of organization is better than another. That's not for me to say. I'm just saying it really, from a corporate social responsibility standpoint, is really much more meaningful when the corporation can be involved with sort of following the money. We're going to donate this, but our people also have an opportunity to sort of be involved as well. It's not a mandate, but it's an opportunity. And then people can tell the stories back in the organization to say, as a result of the donations that we're able to make, or the donation we're able to make as a company, here are the ways in which that money is being used. Here's what our involvement was. Here's what we got to do. It was super cool. One of the things that, and listen, Humoriso is a small company. Let me just make sure I know it seems like I'm, the next Mercer. I'm not.
I'm not.
No. But we one of the areas that we support is an organization actually called Heifer, just like the cow, HEIFER, Heifer International, and we support in some countries livestock being given to people for self-sustaining economic efforts, cows, goats, chickens, so that they can not only have sustenance for themselves, so milk and eggs, think about that, but then they can also take part of that and sell to help earn money for themselves, their families, that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not setting the world on fire. I want to really make sure I say this. This is just an example.
What do you?
I just don't, because it's not like I'm not advocating to say this is the only organization you can support. But I think when one of the things we do is we bring our clients into it as well. So they know a donation has been made on their behalf as a result of being connected to Humoriso. the things that people write back are like, I never heard of this. I didn't know an organization
Yes.
did things like this, right? So part of the responsibility that I think a company can be thoughtful of is, how do we invest in something, participate in something, but then share the story of it, even with our customers or our clients who also then may get involved or feel a connection to it. I just think there's something very healthy about the community of that.
It's such a dichotomy. Like, I mean, it's hard, it's difficult depending on what organization you are a part of. And I'm just in the People magazine of it all. If your person doesn't align with believe that global warming is a big problem, to then have to offset, put the money back in the people's pocket. Like, if
Yeah,
that's what you're going to do, if you're going
right.
to, like, because it's supposed to offset your organization's impact. But if we don't deal with the actual people in the organization, what good is it
Yeah.
to plant a tree somewhere if
Yes.
Frank is
Yes.
getting abused, in accounting? Like, at what point are you ready to then do corporate social responsibility? Because I
Yeah.
feel like, as a team, because you don't want some of those people, you don't want to send out into the field. Some of those people you want to keep in the in at home, let alone in the office. They're like, we're all going to
Don't come
the
here.
office except for you,
Return to
Marge.
office except you.
Marge, you can stay home. You know?
Well, this is where, and again, you brought up the houseless problem. Um, we have to be careful from a corporate standpoint as well as an individual standpoint if we sit on the side of being able to do something, right? And I know we're not talking, by the way, that everybody has to give millions. There are opportunities, I mean this, there are bake sales that happen at churches that those monies are going to support a women's refuge center, right? Because, like, just look at where the money is going. Follow the trail, please. You may not. Oop, oop, oop. I went away. Am I good? Can you
You're
hear me?
here. I see you. You didn't go
I don't
anywhere.
know what just happened there. Um, you may run into someone, and the houseless is a very good example for this, where you get connected to someone who has a need, uh, or we perceive a need, and you're like, "Hey, let me help you get off the streets." And their response is, I don't want help. I don't want to get off the streets. This is how I want to live. And believe me, this happens. And sometimes as an individual or as a company, we'll say things like, see, these people don't want the help. We're not going to give
And
money
it's
to
not
that.
even that.
You
Like,
can't do it based on one
you can't.
inexperience. You can't.
And quit going back up to what Dr. B said, solving
Yeah.
people's problems they've never experienced
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah.
One of the things, there's a woman in city government. I was at an event, and this whole group was trying to solve being in a food desert. And she said they were all talking about community gardens and this and that and this and that. And she quietly in the back said, have you ever smelled microwave broccoli? And we were like, yeah. She was like, it doesn't smell good. It's like, no. She was like, it just smells like broccoli. Like, it's broccoli, but it doesn't smell good. They're like, right. And she was like, I remember doing the summer food program in Waco, and it
Mm.
was like chicken nuggets and, an apple and broccoli. And she was like, do you know what 200 bags of broccoli smells like out in the summer sun? It's like, no. And she was like, these kids came out and it was a big box and it had like food in it, and they didn't want to eat the apple or the chicken because of the way that
Yeah.
broccoli smelled. Some of those kids had never had broccoli in their life. Could you imagine smelling it for the first time? And you're going to tell them that they can't eat their hot fries? Like, maybe you could.
It's funny too, though, right? Because you and I have had this conversation before, whether on the show or whatever, just in life.
On
Like,
the bus
I
between
didn't
things.
know that I didn't like, I still probably do. I don't know if they still make it, to be honest with you. I loved government cheese. When I had to go pick up cheese and rice, that huge 5-pound block of cheese,
Yeah.
and
It's very distinctive.
very distinctive, and had the cheese slicer, right? The that shape thing, right? Of slicing the block for slices of cheese. The grilled cheese that you could make was like the best grilled cheese I've ever had in my life.
And again, I remember that as a kid, very distinctive.
Very distinctive. But part of it too is, and I think that this is where sometimes we can get in our own way. And these are conversations I have to have with myself, honestly, about how I'm contributing time and resources and money and those kinds of things to various organizations. I didn't know any differently when I was a kid, meaning this was the greatest thing, like sandwich grilled cheese I've ever had. And then I started to find out that it was government supplied cheese, that I was, quote, in need. I and it affected the way in which I looked at this sandwich that I once loved.
Do
Right?
you know the history of government cheese?
I don't actually.
So this is like, y'all.
I don't know who this is, but the LinkedIn user. Please tell us who you are. Shout out to government cheese. Thank
Shout
you.
out to government cheese. That's the thing that is interesting is that it was a government subsidy program to farmers. For their cows. So they had an excess of milk. So they turned it into cheese to
Are
try
you
to
kidding me?
So they had the government cheese program and had a certain amount so that farmers could sustain, and then had all
Oh,
this extra milk. That's why they had all of this cheese. And it's
it's
the
the
same
best
thing
cheese.
that's happened through the government of subsidizing corn farmers. Like, it's a whole cyclical thing. And then, like, it's
Yes.
ways of trying to help without actually helping. What is the issue? Like, if people stop buying chicken, like the milk campaign, right? Like, that was a
Yeah.
government program, again,
Yes, it was.
helping
Yep.
the dairy farmers. So, and then we are like, corn, and then corn syrup. And now we have a problem with like obesity. And we're like, what's going on? Like,
I
there's
know.
so many things that are like directly tied back of a version of social responsibility. And then when you don't know, you don't solve the actual problem and you just throw money at something, often can cause just another problem.
And that's where I think this is, by the way, this is such a good conversation. You're so on point today, just so you know. It's
It's
so
Yvonne.
good.
It's
It's Yvonne.
Yvonne.
You are
I mean, I
channeling
really,
the Gulagong. You are.
seriously, I was like, I'm channeling
It's so good.
my inner tennis. You just made me feel better. I was not feeling good today. I feel so much
You
better.
are on points. You give yourself a hard time. This is why, coming back to like, the organization has to define and decide how this corporate social responsibility will show up for them.
That's right.
And I'll give you a very relevant, little bit of a testy example, which is, I know some people feel some sort of way, one way or the other, about our current health secretary and the dyes that, not
Oh,
DI, the DYES,
right.
whether this is the right thing to remove, the wrong thing to remove. If your organization, however, has had a history of, I'm going to just use broad terms, nutrition being something that you say, and you kind of were saying this with the broccoli example, there are parts of our country that don't get access to fresh fruits and vegetables,
Right.
believe it or not. It's not a normal thing for them to have access to. It
Right.
might be hot fries, but it just may not be like the normal where they get access to those other things. And so you have a company that has said, we are focused on penetrating into communities with nutrition, with access to healthy foods. At some point with that commitment, you're deciding what kinds of organizations will we support and what kinds of foods does that represent when we say healthy foods. I'm not a nutritionist, so I'm not going to say I know what those things are, but I am going to say that's an example of having to decide, okay, are we getting behind something that politically might cause us issues? Are we getting behind something that may, from a community standpoint, cause us issues? Are we, even as a company, on the same page with what our commitment to nutrition in those areas are? That's why having some of your key stakeholders within your organization involved in helping to craft what is it that we'd like to be about, and bring it to the rest of the organization to say, here's a couple of ways that we can be committed to this stance on nutrition that we have. Let's make sure that what we're investing in is really aligning with our values as a company and really making the impact we wanted to make. I'm speaking generally, but just using that as a specific example.
But I was, yes, but the other day, so my executive producer, I was like, kept bringing home Dr. Peppers. And I was like, where are you getting
First
these
of
Dr.
all, why don't give him a hard time about bringing home Dr. Pepper?
Just listen to me. Please bring home Dr. Pepper. Just go listen. So I was like, I just thought it was weird. He was bringing them home and then putting them in the refrigerator. Like, are you collecting them? Like, do they have them at school and they give you? Because, you know, we do live in Waco, the home of Dr. Pepper, birthed right up the street. And he said, oh no, they're just in the cafeteria and they look good or whatever. He works at the school district. And I was like, y'all have Dr. Pepper? I thought we didn't have soda in school. He was like, oh yeah, that was Obama. No, we got soda in school now. And I was just like, it's amazing how you can impact. Because when we were little, your mama always gave you 50 cents, sent you with the peanut butter and jelly for the field trip, and then 50 cents to get a soda out of the can.
We didn't have soda when I was in school. It was only milk. We had
only had milk.
White milk and chocolate milk.
White milk, skim milk, or chocolate milk.
Yes, chocolate milk. Two of them. And then
we had
every day.
We had Coke machines in high school towards the end.
In high school, we did. You're right. We had machines.
My sister had a smoking section in her high school.
We unofficially
students. When I was in high school, we had a smoking section for the teachers. When she was in high school, they had a smoking section for the students and the teachers.
The teacher's lounge was the smoking section for teachers. If you didn't smoke and you were a teacher, you did not go in there.
It is
because it was just a bunch of.
Think about it. Maybe smoking is the corporate. There is an organization that we could help.
100%, right? This is what I mean. Like, at some point, an organization has to decide
who are you supporting? What are you supporting?
What are we supporting? And what are what's the criteria that we're going to use to decide what we support? Somebody put juice too. Let me tell you something. We didn't have juice. I'm telling you, we did not have juice. Nope, we did not have juice. It was only milk. Not even water. You couldn't get yourself a glass of water. It was milk.
One of the things that we try to do for Platinum Scoops, because I too have an organization, a small business, and at Platinum Scoops, we use the thing that was so disturbing. That's right. Thank you,
Jamie. What?
Love him. So.
This is so good.
Hold-on bags, and hold-on bags are compostable. Okay. They're made out of cornstarch, and they are compostable. Because we were watching as we were learning how to do this business, and it's a little bit more complex than you think. We're just having plastic bags, plastic trash garbage bags. Oh, I go to Walmart and I get 2 trash bags, and it's like, you're kidding.
Yeah, we use first of all. You know, I don't pick up any of what Milo leaves behind. He ain't my dog. I don't pick up after him.
Angel, I don't send me that dog.
He is not my dog.
Plays with him.
And he is Kathy's 1000% love of her life. I am easily 6th, 7th on the list. There is no question about that. Right. And this dog, we do this. I don't know which ones she uses, though. You to your point, but. She switched to, I'm going to say, biodegradable bags, whatever it is, for the same reason, because she even noticed people in the neighborhood using like the grocery store kind of plastic bags to pick things up. And it's like, that's never gone anywhere.
It's expensive. Like we charge a premium, and it's like, we have to use these supplies or else we're not doing it. And so many times you're in an effort, you think you're doing something like, oh, we're all going to fundraise to go clean a highway or something. But then we all drove there. So then did we just our group alone put a hole in the ozone
Right.
ozone layer just to pick up the trash on the street.
There's a company that I know, actually a couple that are smaller businesses, which, but look, let me be honest. If in case we don't know the numbers, the highest, way highest percentage of companies in the United States fall into the small business category. I mean,
Yes.
it's just, that's what the majority of companies are in the US, or
Right.
small business. So I know a couple that are involved in different parts of the United States. They have chosen for their corporate social responsibility pledge commitment, they get involved with community gardens right where they are. And because they can see right away the impact that they're having. And so they'll help to convert some urban abandoned place lots into a community garden, and they both obviously plant and grow food, but also in the community there's interest from particularly kids who have never been exposed to any kind of farming or gardening and such. And so
Wow.
those kids get involved as well to see, and it has been inspirational. In Philadelphia, specifically, there is a high school that the name just went straight out of my head. It'll come to me. There's a high school in Roxborough, the Roxborough section of Philadelphia, that is geared towards agriculture and farming. You go half the day, you're in like English and math and that kind of stuff, and then the second half, or vice versa, in terms of the timing, you're working the farms on the campus. You're learning the skills of agriculture, and a lot of these kids go on to like great things that they do with what they've learned. It's not, it's obviously it's not for everybody, but it is an option. And I love when organizations say, this is in our quote neighborhood. We
Yes.
want to be involved here.
That's what me and Todd donate
Saul,
all
thank
the
you.
time.
Saul High School.
WB Saul, Walter
Yes,
B. Saul.
that's what it is.
We one of the things that as we sit and look at our own list, we have to put our wonder board on the wall. When we talk about what we're going to do, it's like we want to be the best place to work in the city of Waco. And we volunteer every weekend at the Pound. And I was like, can we scoop? They were like, I was like, can we scoop next week? And they just looked at us like, what? And we're like, my husband's like, I pick up dog poop for a living. Like that's what we do. And I was like, when we build
Were they
up,
blown away by
they're fully
ask?
blown away. And the thing that people don't realize, like, so we said, and when we do this, we won't take jobs on Fridays. We'll have a company meeting in the morning and go scoop and walk the dogs on Fridays.
A company meeting in the morning. I love you guys so much.
Because when we go, if you've never done this, we at our shelter, they ask you to walk. And if you go, it had a star. If it had a star, it meant they hadn't taken a walk in 6 days. If there were 2 stars, it meant they hadn't taken a walk in 9 days. And it is at 140% capacity and over 160 dogs. So and it's summer. So when you take every single dog, sometimes you have a plastic bag, sometimes you don't catch it and it's out in the area. And you can't just take a dog in a shelter and put their collar on and take them for a walk. Like, they're so happy to get out. They're all amped up. You got to kind of wait for them to focus on the walk before you play and you're doing all this stuff. They're exhausted from excitement.
Oh my gosh.
And it is just, and we walked in an hour, 6 dogs. And there's 160 dogs.
And so what's the volunteerism like there?
So there's a whole program, but people get nervous about, like, I was fully concussed my first day. When you stick your arm in, half of it, more than half is volunteers. Washing the dogs. My first day, I just washed the bowls because they clean their cages and they feed them twice a day. Rinsing out the bowls. I was like, are you supposed to clean the dog bowl every day? Because my dogs, every day, we like putting them in. But a lot of times, like the
But they
dog I
do have a
want,
lot of volunteers.
they do have a lot of volunteers. But then what's hard is that the most surrendered dog is pit bull or like
Oh,
bulls. And one of the things that someone said lately, they were like, we have a hard time getting people to walk dogs because they're afraid, even though we've tested all of the dogs. Like they might not, I mean, wear jeans because they're going to jump on you, but you're not going to have a problem with these dogs biting you. They might bite other dogs. They're not going to,
well, that's what I
and
was
we
going
don't
to
know.
say. That's the concern. Wouldn't you think is like if you're walking this dog and then a dog being walked coming the other way, you don't know what the
That did
temperament's
happen.
going to
I
be
was like,
like.
Lord Jesus. What's funny, they teach you how to see it. I was like, oh
Oh,
Lord.
they do. Okay, so
They
there's some
do
training.
because
Oh yeah, yeah,
they're territorial over food
yeah.
and toys. So when you
Yes.
take them out, but when you go see them, they're all jumping up and down, up and down, up and down, and they look really scary. And then
Milo's territorial with his toys too until I go,
is that what it takes?
and then he drops the toy and cowers away, and I'm like, good.
None of my dogs play with toys. Losers.
None of them.
None of them. And so we sneak snacks. They don't even do it for snacks. And I had snuck one in the snacks, and the other dog kept throwing it in the air. And I was like, "What are you doing?" And Todd goes, "A snack comes out." I was like, "When did I put them snacks in there?" I don't even remember. My dogs are like, "Oh no." If you wait long enough, she'll just give it to you. Like,
I
don't.
mean, the whole animal thing. See, this is again another great example when it comes to corporate social responsibility. Um, I'm not I'm not an animal hater, but I'm not an animal lover. I can take it or leave it when it comes to pets, I should say. I
Take
enjoy
it
a
or
zoo and all that
leave
good
it.
stuff. I could take it or leave it. Honestly, I'm being honest. There's a cat in my neighborhood that's a stray, and I'm like, Lord, someone could get this cat, get it out of
I
here. I can't. I
there's a
don't want
bird
it.
that wakes up every morning. I was like, if we could just get a gun that could recognize who's making that sound.
I mean,
But
really. So if I'm in charge, quote unquote, if it were just up to me, I might never have as an option in my organization things that have to do with like what you're doing, the pound
right,
or things like that, right? Where animal adoption, that kind of stuff. But that's not. That's why it's not just up to me. Like again, I'm using me as in any company there should be some level of conversation about what it is do we want to be about and why. If you have a few things, if you're a larger organization and maybe can support in different ways, great. Some companies let part of their corporate social responsibility commitment be also inclusive of time off. So
yes,
every month, right? We've seen this. Every month you get half a day, you get a whole day. I don't know, whatever it is, to go and be involved in an organization that of your choosing. You just have
right.
to get it cleared because some people, of course, are dishonest, unfortunately, and so we don't want to make it bad for everybody. And so, what are you going to be involved with? Um, and I think there's some great programs. We have a friend. I don't want. I don't. If she's here, she'll out herself. But we have a friend who's done programs in prisons where, speaking of dogs, right? The folks in the prison get to help train dogs
Which is a great
that
program.
then go up. It's a great program and it gives purpose and the those that are incarcerated feel a sense of pride that they've contributed to something to help this animal be ready to go and be brought into a home or have a career as a service animal for somebody, things like that. Like that's really cool.
But I'd
But
like to see a company show its impact. I don't see
yeah,
that enough where they're owning, hey, by the way, this is our impact.
I don't think
Yes,
that's what I said,
I
Josh,
think
but
that's
all
what he
right.
said.
I say I'm animal, I don't care, but
I think you could put
agnostic.
quotes around that actually. If you, um, I think that it's nice to have corporate social responsibilities. One of the things that was really funny is that I did a thing for Fortune magazine, and uh,
I mean,
and it was in Atlanta. Who do you think the beverage sponsor was?
Pepsi?
Close.
Close.
So
Right.
on every chair was a bottle of Dasani, and every panel was like, "Get that away from me." And they didn't have any other water. They didn't have like the big jugs or water
Why?
fountains or water
I don't know.
bottles.
What's wrong with Dasani?
Dasani is owned by Coke because it's in a plastic bottle.
Oh,
And
that.
they were
Okay,
like,
sorry. I was like,
I
I've had
can't
that
drink
water
that. All
before.
of them
It's
had their like, the water with the stickers, like all of them. And they were just like gasp, like they could not. The choices were Coke or water.
I mean,
20 ounce. That was it.
20 ounce.
And you
Ooh.
know me, I walked in, I was like, ooh, Coke. I'm like,
I
what's going
know.
on? How far is like I totally Oh, I'm the DEI person, not the
Oh, right. I don't care about plastic. Whatever.
whatever. I but
Everyone's having a protest, and you're like,
yeah. I
you
was like,
don't want your
Jamie,
Coke? I'll take your Coke. If you don't
Jamie
want,
put it in the chat. Ain't no Dr. Pepper, but it'll do.
it'll do.
But nobody talks about the impact. You hear about people saying, we saved 3 children. And it's like, yeah, but what else is the impact?
And even
And I
that
don't know
is
if people would
like,
work there.
I think that and I will tell you, it's a really difficult business model, but there are a few organizations that have been very, very, I guess, marketing driven on the way in which the sale of their product directly impacts. So
Yes.
Tom's, Bombas, if you're familiar with Hand in Hand, they do soaps. For everyone, Tom's, for every one pair you buy, they donate a pair, right, to different countries where usually kids need shoes. Bombas does that with socks, often for the houseless or homeless populations. Hand in Hand does the same thing with, for every bar soap you buy, they donate a bar soap, that kind of stuff. And it's like, awesome, love that. And what happens as time goes on? People stop buying those products. We're not buying as many Toms as we once did when it was, I guess, in vogue. Right now, people are like, I will still buy a pair of Toms. And I've had people go, what are those shoes? And I'm like, well, they're Toms. I don't know. Like, they're like, I'm like, they're not very well made. There's not a lot of support to them. Don't you need support? First of all, what you got to worry about my age and what kind of support I need. But secondly, like, I still like the idea that they're giving a pair to someone else in need. But I have to tell you the truth. I've never followed the shoes.
Right.
I don't know that they actually, I'm sure they do. But
they're not made in some sweatshop somewhere.
I mean, right. But that's the part I don't know, right? That kind of stuff, because we hear about those stories all the time. And so I think it can be a lot of pressure to feel like I have to know everything about everything, because then you may never make a decision because you don't have the transparency into every aspect of where this is going.
I think what is concerning, what I get most concerned about and frustrated about when we think about like DEI goes under ESG or this sometimes.
Hi, Aaron.
I didn't see you.
Yeah.
But I want to bring up something that's really important, maybe a little touchy.
Okay.
And the part of it is like when I was sick, and I was trying to talk to the doctor and I was trying to figure out why I was sick. And when she told me, she was like, part of it is just environmental reasons. And I said, what do you mean environmental reasons? Because I don't understand what you're talking about. Like, are you talking about like bad water? Like, why do you keep saying environmental? And then finally she was like, it's racism. I was like, what do you mean? The racism in this country is why Black women have fibroids faster. And it's why women are sick and with high blood pressure. The effect of racism on Black women causes these sicknesses. And so when you say DEI is not important,
right,
and you have people everywhere at an organization who work in fear, to me, that should be your first social responsibility. You can't change it outside, but you can change it in here. And knowing that after leaving Textio, more than anything else, my biggest fear is going into an organization that doesn't look at, not to be melodramatic, but it's like, I'm not going to have that many more jobs, right? Like organizations that I align with.
Mm.
And where you dedicate so much of all of your time, not in a consultancy, but if I'm getting,
Yep.
and to think that you're giving of yourself to an organization that can't see that the amount of stress, and that you're working in fear and not doing anything about it and having to deal with that every day is huge. And it
Mm-hmm.
makes me sad. Like, it's one of those, it's just funny, because a lot of organizations will want to help children someplace else, but not help the people in their very own organization.
For sure. That is
You
true.
know?
I mean, that's very true. Honestly, part of that is because this is a human thing. It
Right.
is easier to sort of pacify yourself in saying I'm a good person, because I can point to what I've done externally as something that lets me know I'm okay. I tell myself that it lets me know I'm okay. But internally, your house could be on fire, right? But
Right.
you lean on the fact of, well, look what I did over here. Yeah,
That's
but
why, like,
you know,
and I think that's why so many people are having such a hard time. Like, we like try to look at the world of work, and we're like there is a you have a if you have people that are unsafe, and there are people that are at work unsafe,
mm-hmm.
and we look at, like, we reduce and remove safeties for those people, then we should imagine that, I mean, I think stress across the board
Yes.
would go
And
up.
that is the thing. Like when you think about DE and I okay, whatever you're worried about, organization, whatever that is that you're worried about. Do you want to be a non-inclusive organization? Well,
Right.
no. Well, no. Okay. Just kind of walk through that then. Have eyes to look around and see, is everybody doing okay? Do I need to
Right.
be thoughtful about anybody in a particular way? We talk about, being so formalized about the ADA when it comes to accommodations, which terrific, wonderful. Accommodation isn't a word that can only be used in the formality of ADA. How do
Right.
I be thoughtful about others? How am
Right.
I accommodating to others? I would do that in my home. Somebody comes to my house and says, I don't eat meat, and I'm making dinner.
You'll have the
There's a good
lamb.
chance that I'm not, that I'm not going to be like,
Wasn't
we're
that
having,
amazing?
we've got some Wagyu beef burgers cooking, right?
Eat the beef.
Right? Like, I, I'm going to be accommodating and say, okay, terrific. I was going to make this. Does that work for you? Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. In the same way, I would want to act that way in my workplace. I don't need to have an official policy, but I certainly can act that way as an individual. And the more that individuals get together and do that, that's going to make the impact. That's going to make the
Because
impact.
you the if these people, when you are a leader, it's not these people are in your service, they're in your care, and
They're
they've
giving time
opted.
to your
There's
organization.
or there's a certain expectation of it's being, and I don't care what you call it, the people that are, like, at your employ are looking to be in a safe work environment. And
Yeah.
so you have to, when you pull regulations, you have to double down to make sure, because the law hasn't changed as far as you still can't discriminate. And so when you take everything, that doesn't mean that's not a free for all of how you're
No.
treating people. So, like, the same organizations that remove DEI to keep from getting sued are the organizations that put DEI in to prevent from getting sued, who didn't
Yeah.
care about what was really going on in the
Yeah.
organization.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
people in those positions cared, and you still need to have people to oversee it. I was on a call a couple of weeks ago, and someone was like, "Oh, the weather's so good," and one of the people on the call was from Austin, where they had all those people die and flooded, right? So it's like, oh, I forgot. And it's like, if you had, a lot of times DEI people had to say to people, just a note, be kind to your coworkers that might be experiencing something with this or having those kinds of conversations. You know, at the end of the day, you still want to make sure that you have a pleasant place to work and people can do their best work and that you're doing the best to give people a mission. If you're a mission driven organization, if you're not, you still want to see what your impact is. You can do it
Yes,
on it. You don't need to have an official corporate social responsibility
that's right.
inside
That's
to
exactly
be
right.
able to, do
That is
something
exactly
with
right,
your work.
because you talk about ESGs and that, like there's something formal about, especially in human resources related work, we have initials, so that means it's a thing. So if you're not ready for the thing, it doesn't mean that you don't do anything. You certainly can, as an organization, do a little something. Like I said, I have a small organization. Jackye works with a small organization. She's not ready to
We
do,
not.
like, the $1 million donation for, for Jackye, for, some sort of pet care need or whatever. Like, she's not there yet. So the answer can't be, well, we'll just hope that one day we get there, and that's when we'll be supportive. I love what you said about, like, just go volunteer on the weekend, go walk some dogs. Like, it doesn't take a lot to show, like, for your company to know we're committed to some things in our communities. It's the time of year, right? Today's the last day of July. Can you believe it? It's the last day of July. We're getting ready to do back to school in most of the country, over the next month, 6 weeks. What can you do to be helpful there? Is it about packing backpacks for kids who might need some school supplies? Is it about packing some boxes for teachers who need school supplies? Right? Like, there could be ways that are just seasonal. These are small, quote unquote, you consider them to be small impact, but honestly, all of it,
It can be
all of it matters.
so big. I
Yes.
mean, really, one of the things that was really funny for Martin Luther King Day, it's a day of service, and so I always take the kids, like, we would clean up our own street, pick up the trash on our own street. If you ever do one of those trash pickups, you're surprised at how much trash you find.
Oh, are you right?
I
I've
mean,
done
even on
those.
the cleanest, nicest street,
Holy cow.
like
Yes.
the wind blowing or whatever happens. And people were like, "Why are you doing that?" It was like, "Oh, it's a day of service. We're doing it for that
Yes.
day." And so you
Yes.
can do and look online. There's lots of things that you could do, online. I love what Angela is saying about keeping it real.
I know we can't fit it all. It doesn't all show up on there, but the questions at the end are excellent, right?
I
Are we
think, yes, if we need to ask, are we investing in people's well-being only when it fits a business case, or are we willing to do what's right even when it's not immediately profitable? Because
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I don't know where you work and I'm not there, but
Yeah.
a lot of people are suffering right now that, are not okay for various
Yeah.
whatevers.
Yeah.
And your organization might have those types of things. If you're going back to the office, it might have time to do some of those cheesy things of bringing people together, because just communally, just having an ice cream day could feel really good, or
Yes.
just having
And
um,
non-dairy ice cream,
an
because you have to be
exchange.
thoughtful of those that
Like,
are lactose intolerant.
have a suit exchange at work. A lot of people don't have
Listen, there are
haven't
so
worn
many
outfits
groups.
in
Yes.
so long. Just bring
Yes.
it, like,
Dress for Success. There's lots of
yeah.
those
I want to
programs
do a
within.
potluck though, because
Oh no. I mean, I used to like a potluck though.
I
Everybody
did,
would
but
bring things. I did. I know.
the
Now I'm kind of
spread,
worried. I
like,
got a
what do you,
couple of
now I can't.
staff that might try to kill me, to be honest. But the Dr. Angela, thank you, by the way, for that question. I appreciate that, to share with everybody. This is the fastest hour in show business. If you watch this after the fact, thank you. Please continue to leave comments. Everybody who's been commenting will get notified, be able to keep this conversation going. Really curious to know if you've got ideas or experiences around ways in which you've done corporate social responsibility.
Do you
That
feel
would be
like
helpful.
organizations have a social responsibility?
Yep.
Is
Yeah.
it still a thing?
For some, I think it's dwindling, but I think for some,
I think for
yes.
some, I think we'll see it come back.
I think so too. And listen, we don't need it to be popular.
No,
It's
and I think
okay.
people are genuinely,
We
good.
really are wired to give back. I know that might sound,
No, I think
like
we
pie
are.
in the sky. I
I think
think
we
we
are.
really, really are.
And look for on my LinkedIn, I will put pictures of Leo. Leo will be with us next week.
Yes, but
Leo is
Leo's not
staying with us
available for
for
adoption,
11
correct?
days.
But Leo is
11
not available for adoption. I
He's
want to make
not
sure
available
people
for
know that
adoption
because people might be
because I am
messaging
putting
you.
dogs for adoption in my feed right now.
I know, like, let's make sure because, Leo's family will come back from vacation and be like, where's our dog?
Oops, I thought it was for.
Thanks for a great conversation, everybody. Have a
Yes.
great
Great.
day.
Clink, clink,
Blink.
clink, clink, clink.
Bye.
Bye.